So I spent the day testing these reforged bonuses, the ones where it's like your primary attack have a chance to inflict, the family set bonuses. I've got a few questions that people probably want answered, like, do these stack? AKA, if I have 3 of these, is there a 6% chance to defeat the enemy? And what else about them do we need to know? There's a few things I've learned today that I'm going to show with the runs. Keep in mind that all of the data I have is from self-testing. I'm not looking at code, so there could be a little bit off about one thing or another. First things first, it seems like there is an 80-second internal cooldown with these, meaning if you are running, let's say, like the Hydra set here, they try to summon a Hydra, you're only going to get a Hydra every 80 seconds. Okay, it's the same thing with things like the Tremor set, Vengeance set. So I've tested this multiple ways. I ran a full 6-piece set of the Hydra. I also ran a 1-piece set of the Hydra. I also ran Tremor with 1 piece, and then I ran it with 5 pieces while running Vengeance with only 1 piece. So we have, if they stack, it would be a 10% chance per basic attack for Tremor, while the Vengeance would only have a 2% chance to trigger. I went ahead and did a few different riffs with this. I'm going to show you guys the riffs and the breakdown of what we found. Okay, so the first thing I did was go and test this at the Blood Rose by actually having, like I say, only 1 of these with the bonus, and then the other one had 5 of the same bonus. What would end up happening is the one that had 5 of the same bonus, this would be the Tremor basic attack, was triggering first. Pretty much every time, the Vengeance would follow maybe 5 to 10 seconds or something later after that, meaning that the Tremor was proccing more often, which would stay in line with if the family set bonuses actually do stack. I want to mention one other thing. If you're testing this with Hydra, the Hydra in particular is especially difficult to test both internal cooldown as well as stacking ability, because you have to do it reliably on kill, not on just basic attack. So I did test these with the primary attack as well as the Hydra to maintain this. Now, throughout all of the footage you're going to see here, the Tremors seem to consistently proc before the Vengeance pretty much every single time, which stays in line with the stacking, and the Vengeance would proc later. However, it is important to note that they seem like they shared separate internal cooldowns, meaning if there's an 80-second internal cooldown to proc the family bonus, that is for only each individual set. These individual sets do seem like they stack, but it doesn't seem like the internal cooldown stacks, meaning that 1 internal cooldown will proc for all of them. So if you have 5 pieces of family set on Tremor, the 80 seconds that procs off of 1 of those 2% chances will still put all of them on cooldown, meaning you just stack the percentage. So you have a 10% chance now on primary attack, 80-second cooldown. It works as one ability, not separate abilities from what the testing I've seen has worked. Also, keep in mind that because of this, it might actually be better to just run 1 of each set, because what you're actually doing is you're waiting on the cooldown, and then because the Vengeance set would still proc every 10-15 seconds after or something like that, it seemed like the Vengeance was proccing almost as often as it was for the Tremor set, which has 5 times as many set pieces. I think it would be better to just have a set bonus of all of them, or completely ignore some of the set bonuses in order just to min-max your blacksmith to get things like attack speed, primary attack damage from different sets, just to get those bonus stats instead. The family bonuses do not seem good because of the internal cooldown. If they all stack, which is what it seems like, but there is actually no internal cooldown, we would have a completely different conversation. But because of the fact that there's an 80-second cooldown, as far as I can tell, on every single one of these family bonuses, not just primary attack and not just Hydra, for that reason, you might actually want to have all of the set bonuses, because it doesn't really matter the percentage chance of them as much as we're just stuck waiting almost a minute and a half for every single one of these procs. Do not expect this to be a game-changing stat upgrade for you. Do not expect to push extra challenge rifts because of this. This is mild, insignificant increase in DPS. There's one thing I will mention. Actually being able to proc stun off your basic attack will allow you to proc things like Chip of the Stone Flesh. So if you're with a class that does not have CC, having that actual primary attack Tremor set will be crucially important. Okay, these also count as buffs. It will show on your buff bar. So the things that work around buffs will work around these too, as far as the testing that I've been able to see is dictating. Again, all of this information will be overridden once we actually see somebody who posed the code and is able to flat tell us what the actual numbers are. But these are the stats that I've been able to tell myself from the testing I have done over the last few hours. Keep in mind, the Hydra, because you have to kill something, is not going to do anything for you on some of the bosses. So while it's really exciting to have a summon and all that, it's only good in what you could argue packs of mobs where you're killing a lot of things in order to get the Hydra to actually pop up. The Hydra doesn't stay very long as well, and most of the times, because you have to have minions be dead in order for the Hydra to arrive, the Hydra shows up when there's no reason to have them because everyone's already dead most of the time, right? So it doesn't really work unless you're like trying to fight a yellow mob and then you kill everything else around it. The Hydra procs up to attack it, but it really doesn't stay that long and the damage is insignificant. It's less than like a basic attack to give you an idea. I'm not really super impressed, to be honest, with the Hydra, like at all. Maybe if you have a summon build and you're a Necro and it counts as a summon and you have the Shepherd build and all that, maybe there's some testing to be done there. So I would probably put this one under my Necro boys to see if you actually really like this build. But other than that, I would rather have something that does something on your primary attack. Now, the other problem is the primary attack, the Vengeance one, only lasts for a second. And by the time you have travel time and the animation time of actually using a basic attack, I don't know if I even got a single bonus damage from having the 1 second, 100% increased damage from the Vengeance family set bonus. So that's pretty disappointing as well. The one that's been really nice was the actual Trimmer Stun, because it does proc the Chip of the Stone Flesh, and this DH, I'm having problems procking that. But also the additional damage that it does in AoE form is instantaneous, and I don't have to like land a move or have, oh, I have a half a breath of moment here to try to get 100% increased damage. Maybe the Vengeance will work better with a complete damage over time build with classes that are using all the dots and stuff. There might be an argument to be made there, but for today, I would almost rather have the barrier. I'd almost rather have just all stun. I didn't even try the Corpse Explosion one, to be fair. I should probably try that one still, but I was running out of Reforged Stones. It's very expensive. I still think probably the best way to go with this is what you're going to want to do is have essentially one of every one of these sets. So that way you sometimes get a Hydra that sometimes hurts somebody, you sometimes get a stun that sometimes does something, you sometimes get, the Vengeance for 100% bonus, then you sometimes get the Corpse Explosion. You have all these different bonuses. I think that's the way to go. Or if you want to throw away those bonuses entirely and just go to the blacksmith and reforge everything just to get the bonus set attribute, like the attack speed and then primary attack bonus and then like crit damage bonus as your 3 or something, that would almost be a better use of your stats and time and reforged stones as well. So I don't want you to think you have to commit to doing this set bonus, because you only get the 3 lines of the blacksmith bonus, then you get the bonus one. You don't get like an additional one of those or anything like that. So it's doubly not as important to do these. And the 80-second internal cooldown for all of these sets are a real big kick in the nads. That's a longer cooldown than like set pieces, to give you an idea. It's longer cooldown than like any ability in the game. So in my opinion, that part is like, it's like having your ultimate. Like, how many of us actually reliably think of our ultimate when like min-maxing DPS? Maybe you save it the entire dungeon, then use it at the boss at the end. But it's like that kind of cooldown, where it's so much that you don't even think about it, and it's just something that happens in addition. So that's where I came to on this decision, which is that you just do basically one of each of these, or you min-max your set bonuses, and then when it happens, it happens. You don't do a build around it. You don't try to decide all your secondary stats about it. None of that stuff. It's just something that's there. It's a little bit of additional stats, and then you just move on with your life. So don't panic too much about this. One other thing, make sure you're picking up all items, white items, blue items, and yellow items. I actually ran out of scrap because I had to use scrap to get enchanted dust, and I had to go farm like 300 more scrap, and now I'm completely broke on materials again. So if you're like me, and you're a level or 2 behind, like I'm 1 level behind Server Paragon right now, so I've been keeping like at Server Paragon or just a level behind it, and because of that I don't have as much scrap. So you might want to start considering like future blacksmith upgrades coming to the game as well. If we have anything else coming to the game, we don't know about that, and if we do, we're going to need lots and lots and lots of scrap. So don't just be playing casually. Actually might want to start purchasing things like enchanted dust, etc., out of the actual hilts trader. I know it's a huge waste of hilts. I know some people are going to roast me in the comments, but you can actually get into a position where you're out of materials, and then yes, the worst thing is you got to go farm, but sometimes casual players don't want to have to farm all day just to get the upgrades for blacksmith, etc. So I just want to throw that out there as a reminder. That's it for this video. I know it's something people want to test it for a while, so if you appreciated it, consider subscribing to the channel, hitting the bell, or liking the video if you want to, if I earned it. If not, don't worry about it. Have a great day. See you on the next one.